You are now watching The Meech.
I've been playing Nintendo games for well over a decade. I was introduced to gaming with the DS in December of 2009. I was there for Nintendo during their hardship in the Wii U era, and I've been experiencing the Nintendo Switch era since March 3rd, 2017. Day 1. Needless to say, I've seen a lot. Who could forget the less than stellar reactions to Metroid Prime Federation Force and Paper Mario Color Splash? And by less than stellar, I mean there were movements to get the game scrapped entirely. With such a strong animosity, you would expect overwhelmingly negative reception, and while Federation Force and Color Splash are critically panned by the fanbase, they managed to get somewhat decent reviews, even user scores. What I have seen over the past few weeks has been unprecedented. There's been a lot of concern surrounding Mario Strikers Battle League. It was exciting when it was first revealed, but as the months went by, Nintendo's silence about the game became increasingly concerning. Many then assumed that the game would launch similar to Mario Tennis Aces and Mario Golf Super Rush, meaning that it would launch with a lack of content and rely on quote-unquote free updates. This fear was then confirmed. What I expected is that the game would launch unfinished and players would drop it within a few weeks. What I never could have imagined is an absolutely horrifying 4.2 out of 10 user score on Metacritic. Now these aren't salty review bombers giving the game a 0 because Daisy isn't in the game. These are legitimate reviews, and to make matters even worse, even Nintendo fanboys are denouncing Battle League. Never have I ever seen a Mario game get such negative reception. This wasn't a matter of, should I cover Battle League? The situation has been so downright insane that it became, I have to cover Battle League. With a game like Nintendo Switch Sports, that was a lost cause from the start, but Mario Strikers Battle League looked pretty cool, and I had a good time with the first kick demo. As with any game, I go in with an open mind, and I'd be more than happy to have my concerns with Battle League proven wrong. So the question is, does Mario Strikers Battle League achieve its goal of being a return to Strikers, or should you just pass? Mario Strikers Battle League kicks off with a pretty solid opening showcasing Mario and friends playing a match of soccer. It's animated and directed quite well, and the incorporation of the character artwork is cool, but really, it only left the impression of being neat. Mario Strikers Charged has an intro that's directed in a similar manner, but it's anything but standard considering the gritty presentation of that game. The intro in Battle League isn't bad, but it isn't anything special. But hey, even though I've seen more discussion about the animations than the gameplay is still the most important factor. The first thing you'll do in Mario Strikers Battle League is select your team. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, this roster is bad. I thought count on hands was just a metaphor, but no! You can literally count the amount of characters on 2 hands. While it does have most of the mainstays, there's one flowering exception. Daisy took influence from her boy Luigi, and is missing. Considering I'm a massive fan of Waluigi, you would think that in my heart, I would feel, "That's what you get for Mario Kart 7 and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate! Wah!" But the fact that I'm actually with Daisy fans as a huge Waluigi fan and feel a great amount of sympathy, that's when you know something is very, very wrong. It's one thing to have a small roster. Mario Party Superstars also only has 10 characters. It definitely needed more, but it's not as critical of an issue there. That's because in Strikers, you'll need to select up to 4 characters. That's almost half the roster right there, and considering your opponent also needs 4 characters, you will see every character in less than an hour. But what makes the roster in Battle League so abysmal is the fact that you'll often encounter duplicate characters. Sometimes, it's as slight as having 2 Luigis, but other times, your opponent could have a nearly identical team. Could you imagine if a show like SpongeBob didn't have the background fish, but instead had clones of SpongeBob and Patrick in different outfits? Because if you can't, Battle League will show you what that's like. The problem, in addition to the lack of variety, is that seeing something such as 2 Marios or 2 Bowsers is incredibly awkward to look at. It's not natural in the slightest. The teammates from the first 2 Strikers games were designed to address this issue, It makes sense to have multiple Monty Moles or Birdos, considering that they're a species, and to add even more insult to injury, you can have multiple Toads and Yoshis on a team, but not any of the other characters. What this tells me is that the teammates were probably going to return, but weren't implemented. You can customize the characters to have different gear, but launching a game in 2022 with just 10 characters? That is unacceptable. The roster is a major issue, but the gameplay is still the most important factor. We'll just have to deal with the fact that we've gone back to the NES days of palette swaps. Mario Strikers Battle League is at its core soccer, but unlike Mario Tennis and Golf where the sports are more faithful, Strikers is an extreme take on soccer. Your goal is to still quite literally make goals, but you can slam into your opponents and overall be a brute. Mario Strikers is known for how intuitive the gameplay is, and Battle League is no exception. I initially thought the controls were a bit too complicated, but after a round or two, I got the hang of them. All the basic actions are designated to the buttons you would expect. The vast array of moves allows for more versatility, and finding a strategy that works for you. If you want to play more offensively, you can choose a bruiser like Bowser for more powerful kicks, but you can also play defensively by having him tackle opponents, while a fast character like Yoshi can guard the ball. The core gameplay is easy to learn, but takes skill to master. You can also use items similar to Mario Kart. Item usage can be strategic as well, and if my score is low, I'll be inclined to use items, but if my score is close to the opponent, I like to hold on to him to unleash the ultra powerful Hyper Strikes. By grabbing an orb and successfully charging up, you can unleash a powerful kick that can earn you 2 points. It can be dodged, but if the timing is perfect, it's unstoppable. You need to be very accurate to land a perfect shot, so it's not an instant win button, but considering they're worth twice the amount of points, you could potentially recover within the last minute of the game. Every second counts. So far, everything is quite solid, but I do have a few gripes with the gameplay. It's a bit slow for my liking. I prefer the faster pace of Striker's Charge and the original. An option to toggle the speed would have been great. The items are also incredibly standard without much variety. Gone are unique items like the frozen shells or character-specific moves. Battle League needed to take some lessons from Mario Kart Arcade Grand Prix to have some really cool items, but my final gripe with the gameplay is with him. You saw this coming from a mile away, but instead of ranting about Boom Boom for 2 minutes, this will get the point across.
Boom Boom is a disgrace. Boom Boom is a disgrace. Boom Boom is a disgrace. Boom Boom is a disgrace.
Overall, the gameplay is great and feels like an evolution of Strikers as it should. For such a polarizing game, things are looking pretty good. Mario Strikers is known for the distinct gritty and edgy look. That's part of what makes Mario Strikers so unique. Battle League definitely has elements of edge. The Hyper Strike animations go for the character art style, and they look great. Where Battle League shines the most is with the character animations. The animations between goals are very fun to watch, and you'll see things like Donkey Kong pull off dance moves you've never seen before, as well as Wario celebrating with a heaping clove of garlic. Whether you win or lose, the animations are always a win. Music, on the other hand, goes for a very distinct heavy metal. For what it's going for, it does a fine job. Music often comes down to a matter of preference, and I gotta be honest, I preferred the more varied soundtrack in Striker's Charge. I get what it's going for, but although some guys like to hear the guitar slam, that's really not for me. I want to hear your accordion. These aspects of the presentation are good, but oddly enough, the overall presentation is a complete double-edged sword. Character models, great. Animations, wonderful. Everything else? It's so generic, it should be called Market Pantry Mario. Past Strikers games, especially Charged, had the stadiums that are dark, gritty, and unlike anything in the Mario series, but Battle League plays it so unbelievably safe. There are 5 stadiums, each with their own theme. Mushroom Hill is your traditional Mario stage, Lava Castle represents Bowser, Spooky Mansion represents... yeah, I think this one's self-explanatory, although why not call it Luigi's Mansion? And then you got Jungle Retreat and Royal Castle. These so-called stadiums are the lamest and worst I've ever seen in any of the Mario sports games. It's one thing to have vanilla theming. If you look at a game like Mario Party 9, all the boards are based on New Super Mario Bros. Wii. What goes above and beyond awful is having vanilla theming that you can't even see. The stadiums are only blatantly visible in the cutscenes, but during the actual gameplay, it's literally 2 shades of grass with a logo slapped on them. And you know what? As the anthem goes for the Nintendo Switch era, being "How low can you go? How low can you go?" It gets even worse from here. It's one thing to have stadiums that aren't interesting in the slightest, but guess what? They don't even play differently. That's right, no hazards, no gimmicks. You're getting one stadium in the entire game. It's like if Mario Kart only had one track with 5 different variations. Mario Circuit would be based on the Mushroom Kingdom, Luigi Circuit, Luigi's Mansion. It is that bad. If you want more variety, you can change the time of day between day and night, with the main difference being daytime changes up the look from Night's Mario Strikers Little League to straight up, "Wahoo! It's a Mario Soccer!" But if I'm being honest, I think the day versions look better considering the game isn't gritty to begin with. The roster and most of the presentation are a bummer, but considering Battle League is a first striker since 2007, it only makes sense for it to go all the way from Charged and have soccer fields of content. Right, guys? At face value, Mario Strikers Battle League has a variety of modes. Quick Play is essentially free play. This is where you can customize the rules and change the time of day. This is the mode you'll likely use for multiplayer. The rule customization is standard, but oddly enough, it doesn't save your settings. You're gonna have to set them every time you play, which is annoying. You can also play quick matches online. The online works like you'd expect a Nintendo Switch online game to play. When it works, but when it doesn't, it'll become a PowerPoint presentation. That's a typical issue with Nintendo Switch Online games, but Battle League's online has a major issue that is flat out deceptive. The game supports up to 8 players locally, and you would assume it would be the same online, but you can't actually connect 8 Switch consoles online for 8-player online multiplayer. Only 4 players with separate consoles can play online. The only way to do 8-player online is if each of the 4 consoles have 2 players playing locally. For one, that is straight up false advertising. And 2, I don't understand why Nintendo throws in these absurd limitations for no logical reason, and it has been going on for years. Remember when Super Mario Maker 2 launched without the ability to play online with your friends? Or how about Super Mario Party's originally extremely limited online? These are such basic features, and it boggles my mind that Nintendo feels the need to hinder their games for what? Many Switch games can support up to 8 players online without an issue, so the question is Nintendo lazy, or are they just dumb? It's like if Emerald made a 5-star meal only to say BAM! And burn it in the oven. I just don't get it. Although the online is extremely lacking, what are the unlockables like? The primary one you'll get is gear for the characters. I'm a huge fan of character customization, and one of the coolest things about Super Mario Odyssey is that it broke the barrier of tradition and let Mario wear all kinds of different outfits, and it's cool seeing something similar, but the gear here isn't just cosmetic. You can use it to change the stats of your characters. If you want Yoshi to become a brute, you can definitely do that, or if you want Bowser to become Bowser the Dynamite, you could do that as well. I always just end up getting gear to enhance characters' abilities, such as making Bowser stronger, or Yoshi faster. It's a cool addition, but the thing is, the gear is not cheap, and if you win a quick play match, you'll only get about 10 coins. You'll need to play 10 matches just for one piece of gear, but there is a way to rack up coins with the cup battles. The normal cups I was able to tackle within about 2 hours. They're primarily here to introduce players to the mechanics of the game, and they do a good job in doing so. Once you clear the normal cups, you'll unlock Galactic Mode. As the game progresses, it should become more challenging, but there has to be a natural progression. Going from normal to Galactic Mode is like going from 50cc to 1000cc. The opponents will always have the best team and a nearly perfect Boom Boom goalie, but your team will always have the world's dumbest Boom Boom. The opponents will tackle and spam items at such a rapid pace that it becomes extremely hectic and is near impossible to complete. Galactic Mode nearly always plays out like this. winning a match is doable. A second match as well, albeit a bit more difficult, but once you get into the finals, the opponents will always recover in the cheapest ways imaginable. It's far more frustrating than it is fun. I always welcome a good challenge. A game like Metroid Dread is challenging by nature. If you lose, it's your fault, but by playing more, you build up skill and get good. But Galactic mode is cheap and borderline unfair. It's like if Goombas started raining down on Mario when he approaches the goal. After the amount of frustration, something dawned on me, and everything suddenly made sense. Mario Strikers Battle League is a homage to NES games in the worst ways imaginable. You have palette swaps to make up for the microscopic roster, and you have insane difficulty spikes. Do you know why NES games were unbelievably difficult? It's because they couldn't store much data. Do you know why Battle League has such insane difficulty spikes? It's because there's virtually no content. Both come down to padding. Every single mode is just the same soccer game. And yes, that even applies to the highlighted Strikers Club. It only serves as a way to create your own soccer team with friends, see where you rank up, and get more coins. But there is an unlockable you can't get in any of the other modes. You can get elements to customize your stadium, and of course, they're locked behind Nintendo Switch Online. So if you don't have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, you won't be able to unlock them. But even so, changing the design of the goal or field does nothing to make the experience intuitive. It's an idea that's there only to say it's a new feature. It is clear as day Mario Strikers Battle League was phoned in so Nintendo could have a summer game. The game is clearly unfinished, and I knew it would be when I heard the 5 words that I dread. Free updates will be added. Many don't understand why free content updates in Nintendo games are so detrimental. After all, it's free content, right? Well, joining me today, we have another guy who is just as furious about free updates as I am. All the way from DK Isle, give it up for the man, the myth, the Kong himself, Uncle Al.
Hello, and howdy, it's your Unky Monkey. I gotta be real with you guys for a second. I'm pretty tapped out of Nintendo and fan discourse and all that stuff these days. It's just exhausting, and if you're the type of fan who defends every horrible move Nintendo makes without stopping to think about the criticisms people are sharing, then you probably deserve whatever crap they serve to you. I just don't have the patience, passion, or desire to argue or engage with it anymore. So huge shout out to Demeach for letting me come on here and vent through his channel. He got the Uncle Al DLC, and I promise it's the complete package. You won't have to wait a year to find out how it ends. That is quite unlike Nintendo's current business strategy. Now, in a perfect world, this method of releasing free content post-launch would be a good thing. Who doesn't want free content for a game they enjoy? If From Software continued to load up Elden Ring with expansions and bosses for free, I don't think I would ever need to play another video game again. But you see, the marquee difference between Elden Ring and something like, Switch Sports is that I got exactly what I was paying for with Elden Ring without having to wait for it. A $60 game with near oceans of content. Nintendo's not really doing that anymore, especially when it comes to their multiplayer-focused games. If games like Switch Sports came bundled with an adequate amount of content from the start, I think you would see a change in tune from people about the free update stuff. The kicker is that games like this aren't even coming bundled with the bare minimum anymore, Stuff like golf are a Nintendo Sports staple, but you have to wait for a fall update for it. And to make matters worse, Switch Sports doesn't even let you use the leg strap accessory that came bundled with the game. You have to wait for the update. That is the very definition of an unfinished, not ready to ship product. Essentially what is going on is that you are gambling your money away to Nintendo in hopes that by the end of the free update cycle, they will have given you a decent amount of content to play with. But you have no way of knowing how much or how little they plan to add going forward. In the case of something like Splatoon 2, that game was supported for a while. Mario Golf got, 2 or 3 free updates and then they called it quits? And to cite Switch Sports once again, golf is coming. Maybe they have more planned beyond golf. Maybe they don't. What happens when they have a free updates game that largely underperforms? Nintendo has no obligation to continue supporting it. They got your money, and you got gypped. The big defense of free updates is that it breathes life into the online, and maybe if these updates were frequent and plentiful, I would agree. But again, Switch Sports. The game came out at the end of April. There will be no major updates until the fall. It was a bare bones game with very little content from the start. The online is dead, according to people who have the game. You can bet that I skipped that crap. You gotta be snorting copium big time if you think people are going to come back in droves for golf. It's just not happening. Current issues with this model aside, let's look at the future. Someday, the Switch servers will shut down. When that happens, if you buy one of these games to play, you're not gonna get all the content that was supposed to come with them. That's unfortunately an issue with modern gaming in general, but it's particularly glaring with these wimpy little skeletons of games Nintendo is pumping out just to meet a quota. It's not good, and I have no idea what happened to the Nintendo, who was all about quality first over quantity. Money talks, I guess. This is just how it is now, and it sucks. I'll probably always keep my eye on Nintendo and see what the next thing is that they release, but as a fan, they've lost me, and I don't think I'm the only one who feels that way. So for people like me, they have a lot to prove, and I don't think they're gonna care about proving themselves until their backs are against the wall. But even then, what? Can we only expect quality when the chips are down and they have to play nice for their consumers? Jeez. Well, hopefully you get the picture. I could probably sit here all day and ramble on about all the issues that I have with the Big N. Hope I was able to shed a little light amidst all the rambling about why the finish it later model sucks. It's not about the consumer. It's about making Nintendo as much money as possible in the shortest amount of time possible. The products suffer for it, and so do we. Anyway, thanks for having me on, Demeach. I'm gonna go take a nap and think about how they'll use the finish it later model on Mario Kart 9. And make me very sad. Okay, bye.
Very well said, Mr. Kong. What you're essentially buying now is a $60 game as a service. The core game is great, but that's it. You've seen everything within an hour or two. Mario Tennis Aces has similar issues in regards to content, but that game is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate compared to Battle League in terms of content. And if you really want to know how bad this truly is, even Mario Tennis Ultra Smash has more variety. Don't get me wrong, Battle League is a better game simply due to soccer being more intuitive, but 10 characters, 5 stadiums with no differences, and essentially one mode? Next Level Games developed Luigi's Mansion 3, one of the best Nintendo Switch games, and even one of Nintendo's best games ever made. So how did Next Level Games go from Pixar to Video Brincado in less than 3 years? Short answer, they probably didn't. I have no doubt in my mind Nintendo set a horrible deadline on them, and they did the best they could given the time frame. Considering how Mario Strikers Battle League turned out, I wanted to apologize to Camelot. They could have gone downhill, but after seeing Battle League, anything is possible. Maybe Camelot did want to make ambitious Mario sports games like they used to. I definitely saw elements of that in Aces, but whoever is responsible for pushing out rushed and lifeless games, they need to be fired. Nintendo used to go by the mantra, a rushed game is forever bad. Nowadays, they go by, a rushed game is still $60. This is why I never want Mario Kart 9 to happen. The 8 Deluxe DLC showcases just how cheap Nintendo is willing to be, and I have no doubt they'll launch Mario Kart 9 unfinished. Just give Mario Kart to Bandai Namco, while Furukawa and Doug Bowser continue to down blueberry wine into oblivion. The entire situation surrounding Mario Strikers Battle League has been absolutely insane. Many went from excited in February to concerned in May, including myself. I've been very open about my criticisms towards Nintendo, and Battle League was no exception, and what came from that were some of the weirdest moments I have ever dealt with. After I posted my first impressions of the first kick demo, the Bluebird Circus was of course going crazy. After reading through the thread, there was something that caught my attention and kinda fazed me. So many people legitimately think that you can't criticize a game until it's out. Imagine basing your opinion on an early build of a game that's not even out yet. Early build? Are you out of your freaking mind? This was a demo of the final game. Yet again, Battle League is unfinished, so you're not wrong it's an early build. I've also noticed that if you criticize a game before it's released, you're told you can't judge it. But if you say it looks good before it's out, nobody says a word. Fanboy logic at its finest. Despite weeks of dealing with the circus, this is only the beginning. I was on a lunch outing with my mother, only to get a notification somebody actually made a response video directed towards my criticisms of Battle League. And unfortunately, I wasn't the only one.
Hey guys, it's Tricky Nick here. I was enjoying a nice Saturday afternoon only to find out that a grown man in Canada filmed a wonderfully crafted video of a store receipt showcasing that he had spent nearly $100 on Mario Strikers Battle League.
This game is well worth it. Nintendo's putting love, charm, passion, and they are doing free DLC the right way, and they've been 100% factually hit.
To make matters worse, he proceeded to call Demeach and I naysayers, which eventually led to this.
If you're Tricky Nick or Demeach, suck on it.
To the youth wanting to become YouTubers when they grow up, trust me, you don't.
Hey Demeach, how was work? Oh, a grown man in Canada told another YouTuber and I to a wee-wee for not liking a video game. But other than that, it was just dandy. Honestly, this stuff doesn't bother me. In fact, I find it more hilarious than anything. It's not amusing, it's just entertaining. But if anything, I can't for the life of me understand the show mentality. Remember when we used to dream of concepts for what next-gen Nintendo games could be like? Now, we're left with experiences that are greatly lacking compared to their predecessors that released over a decade ago. Why reach for the stars when you can just lower the bar? And that is disappointing. But on the bright side, I can always go back to my GameCube and Wii games anytime I want, and I'll continue to for years to come. Battle League was a bummer, but in the meantime, I'll just relax, play Mario Strikers Charged, and have a good time. Ah, look who's back!
Demeach, I'm so glad to hear that you have a laid-back attitude and don't get mad.
Well, thank you, but
I'm not gonna interrupt you, but we need to hang out. Uncle Ian is more than welcome to join too.
That's Uncle Al, you dingus, not Uncle Ian.
Anyways, the three of us should take a little field trip to McDonald's. My treat.
Petey, you are what you described as fun employed. Are you sure?
Yep, I have my ways.
Wow, this is actually really nice. Thanks for the idea. You finally put that bird brain to good use.
Excuse me?
Anyways, how's everything been going, guys?
Me personally, I'm having a ball. Haven't you also been playing Mario Strikers Battle League?
Yeah, it's a bummer. The gameplay is great, but there's like no content.
Let's not be irrational. The Strikers games were never known to have a lot of content, so it's okay.
Actually, Mario Strikers Charged had quite a few unlockables and a good amount of content, and even if it didn't, shouldn't sequels improve on the originals and have more content? I guess in your mind, Pong didn't have much content either, so every game should be Pong.
Maybe, but I always need to be right because I'm so smart. I'm a smarty boy.
I don't know, man. The entire experience is such a bummer. How on earth do you release a Mario sports game with only 5 stadiums that don't even have different mechanics?
I have to say, stadiums with gimmicks are not good for the game because of the core gameplay being hectic. So I like the 5 stadiums here, even though they're identical and you can't see the theming. Quality over quantity, after all.
Imagine defending less content.
Excuse me?
You know what? I've had it. You are the most pathetic loser I've ever met. All you ever do is go on Twitter, you have like, what, 200,000 tweets? So it's clear you're not doing anything productive for society. And looking at your Twitter, all you ever do is defend Nintendo and put up your sick, twisted drawings because you are an absolute freak. And you know what the worst part is? You are one of the direct causes of us getting mediocre Nintendo games. You are one of the causes as to why my controllers don't freaking work. I hope you feel happy about that.
Don't you think you're overreacting a bit? You know, just a little overdramatic.
It's a new iteration of the Mario Kart series. Get ready to take on 5 incredible tracks with 10 awesome characters. Also, a free update that lets you play as Donkey Kong will launch next year.
That freaking does it!
This guy is so damn cheesy that it's hilarious.
I'm not cheesy, I'm just corny.
That's right! Sweet!
And here we are, the final verdict. After an intense showdown taking out the free update trash, Mario Strikers Battle League gets the overall ranking of tragically rushed out. Here's the thing, a game like Switch Sports is so bad that it's comical. How Nintendo botched Wii Sports so badly is kind of fascinating. A bad game is disappointing, a game that clearly could have been something truly spectacular not living up due to corporate greed, that is heartbreaking. I know Next Level Games wanted to put something incredible out. Under Next Level Games, Mario Strikers Battle League gets a ranking of E for effort, but under Nintendo, Mario Strikers Battle League gets the ranking of a complete dumpster fire. Is it worse than Mario Tennis Aces? In terms of fun, no. I had more fun with Battle League, but while Aces lacked content, at least it had some. Battle League is so paltry, it should have been a crime to sell it for $60. Is it worse than Switch Sports? Switch Sports has no redeeming aspects, but Battle League makes me far more frustrated. Petey, what are you doing?
Playing Mario Strikers Charged.
I thought you said Battle League is the best in the series. Why aren't you playing that?
Oh, I got bored of that game.